Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. We'll be talking on cloud computing. It will be a brief introduction. This is the first part of the class, the series of classes we'll be having on this particular topic. So today we'll be treating the introduction to cloud computing, the why, the how to go about it, the certifications, and every other part of it. Stay tuned. Remember to subscribe if you haven't. To continue to receive notifications, click on the bell icon and let's proceed. This is the agenda for today. This is basically what we'll be talking about. We'll look at what cloud computing is, what it's all about, why we are talking about cloud computing, what is Microsoft Azure, why we pick Azure over other cloud service providers, because there are quite a number of cloud service providers. And we'll look at some of the basic Azure services. What is cloud computing? Now, when we refer to the term cloud, we're referring to the internet. So the cloud computing is simply the delivery of on-demand computing services. On-demand in the sense that you are demanding it actively, computing services over the internet. If you notice the diagram by the left is a diagram of different devices connected to a cloud-like illustration over there. The cloud there being the internet. So what happens is that all these devices are connected together over the internet, and this computer over here can access information from that computer over there, because that's what the internet allows us to do. The internet connects us all together. Now, computing over the internet, delivery of computing services over the internet, is what we term as cloud computing. So we will be going deeper into this as time goes by, but cloud computing refers simply to software, applications, and other services that run on the internet instead of a remote server or locally on your hard drive. That's the difference. In this situation, you are skipping the aspect of saving documents or buying softwares, CDs, in order to install softwares. You're skipping all that and going ahead to use it over the internet. Right now, we are looking at a picture of a data center. What exactly is a data center? A data center is a location or a building that houses multiple servers. What is a server? A server is a computer that responds to requests made over a network. So it responds to requests made by clients over a network. Now this might sound like a lot of gibberish. So to break it down, we look at it this way. When you type in a query or you type in a search into Google, what you're actually interacting with at that point is Google's servers. So you type in the search query and type on the search button or click on the search button or click OK. Every other result that shows up on your screen is actually you interacting with the server. These results are being sent directly from the server. Google has their servers over there. There might be a million people typing in the same query just like you are. So this exactly is what a server does. Now these servers are stored in data centers. Right here, if you look closely, you see that we have different compartments. The servers are arranged on a server rack. Each single compartment is called a server rack. So we have one server rack, second server rack, down like that. Each single server rack has its own independent power and cooling to make sure that if an update is to happen or if something goes wrong on a particular rack, it doesn't affect every other one. This is something we call availability set in cloud computing, and we are going to understand this as we move on. So we have some of the popular companies using cloud computing as at present. We have eBay, we have Samsung, Netflix, we've got Instagram over there, we've got Twitter, we've got Pinterest. These are just some of the companies using cloud computing at present. Netflix actually started using cloud computing early for their streaming services. They use Amazon Web Services for their streaming services. Twitter, also before the pandemic, migrated to Google Cloud. So it offered Twitter more functionality and flexibility. As a matter of fact, as of March 2020, Twitter developers and engineers have built new features in record time. So their real-time data pipeline has actually seen a lot of improvements ever since they migrated to Google Cloud. So these are just some of them, and we are going to see how this works for them as the lecture proceeds. So why exactly do businesses move to the cloud? I'll give a very simple and straightforward explanation of that by using a very simple illustration. So you as a graduate decide you want to go into a new business venture. You want to establish a cyber cafe. So people are going to come in. You want people to use your systems in there and all that. So yeah, you go ahead. You want to buy a server. So you go ahead and purchase the server hardware from the server store. Possibly it costs about 5 million to get that. You put that in. It's 500 gig storage along with 8 gig of RAM. Very fine for your business. Very smooth for it. You put in your apps, you link it up, you call the network engineers, they work on it. Everything seems to be going fine. You buy the systems, you need to get a Core i5 Pentium systems, you buy all that. Possibly you're spending about 1.2 million on getting up systems for that particular business. Now everything is going fine, it's well utilized, your business is moving fine. And then all of a sudden there's a spike in those needing your business. So right now you have to get a bigger server for your business. You go back to the hardware store, purchase one with a storage space of possibly 1 terabyte, and you're getting something around 16 gig RAM. So you get that back into your business, call the network guys again, they fix it up again, another payment for all that, all those extra charges and everything. You do all that. You don't care. Your business is moving fine. Your business is getting better. You're good with it. So you plug all that in and your business is moving fine. And all of a sudden, February 2020 happens. COVID-19. No one is coming for that business during that period. So your usage drops and every single thing you've been running becomes underutilized. Now the server you got becomes underutilized. You're no more using it. You have to go back to the 500 gig and 8 gig RAM server you've been using. Possibly you've sold that out, and you are just underutilizing the current server. Now that proves a big problem. All the systems you've bought become less utilized, and hence they start developing faults and all that. So what happens in that particular situation? Whoever owns that business begins to suffer losses because every single system is bought, every single equipment is bought becomes underutilized. You can't do much about it, but pray that it becomes better as time goes by. What exactly is the aim of all this? This is why businesses move to the cloud. If he was moving to the cloud, the first thing he would have is what we call scalability. He would be able to increase or decrease his usage as it goes. Now, the point in cloud computing is that you pay for what you use. It works on a pay-as-you-go model, the PAYG model. So you only pay for systems you utilize. You don't have to bother about all these issues that happen behind. You don't have to bother about the networking. You don't have to bother about the hardware, who's taking care of the hardware. The cloud service providers do all that for you. A cloud service provider like Microsoft, like Google, they do all that for you. All you have to do is just run your business workloads on it. So we'll be talking about all that as we move on. Infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. Take note that this explanation I gave, this illustration I gave, is an example of someone using an on-premise server, an on-premise service. So on-premise in the sense that he has his own service right there. He bought his own servers. He is managing the hardware. He's doing all that. When you're using the infrastructure, the cloud service provider is managing that for you. If it sounds a bit weird, as we move on, it becomes more easy. Now, this business that has moved to the cloud has the following advantages. First, reduced cost. Now, according to the illustration I gave before, you will notice that our graduate at that point has been spending a lot on fixing up his business, on getting servers, on getting computers, on getting a location to put the computers. He has been spending a lot on running his business. Now he moved to the cloud. He doesn't have to buy servers anymore, but rather he pays for what he uses. He doesn't have to bother about who fixes up the network for him, who fixes up the IT part of it, the system admin part of it, who is who is managing the hardware. That goes off from him. He doesn't need to look for a space to keep the hardware. So all that actually reduces his entire cost. He only pays for what you use. So you can see there that we have up to 70% reduced cost on the pay as you go model. It could be more than this by far, and it could be less than this. So first thing, reduce cost. Now scalability. Now, as per the illustration we gave about her graduate, you notice that when his demand increased, he had to get a bigger server. When it reduced, he could do nothing but underutilize that server. Now that is a property why there's a reason why businesses prefer to move to the cloud. Now when you're on the cloud, you have what we call scalability. That is, you can increase or decrease your scale based on demand. When demand increases, you simply increase the amount of RAM without having to go ahead to get new hardware. You just increase the RAM or increase the hard drive, and you pay for what you use, which makes it way more easier and better and easier for whoever is going to run that particular business. One of the major reasons why businesses also shift to the cloud is because of the ability to meet customer demand as quickly as possible. And the cloud allows for this by making sure resources are deployed efficiently and speedily. When we move into deploying our virtual machines and deploying the virtual desktop, you would see how fast and how easily it is to deploy these resources. Productivity is also on the aspect of time saving. So you increase productivity a lot when you are able to save time. So thanks to cloud solutions, not only do your IT teams work faster, but so does the software itself. So when your employers work remotely, on-premise hosting doesn't really work well. On-premise in the sense of the explanation I made earlier. So that was an on-premise server which was being used by the graduates we talked about. So when you're trying to make an availability for remote workers, on-premise hosting doesn't really work, but cloud hosting works perfectly with unlimited access anywhere and anytime. It allows collaborative work for teams with traveling sales staff, freelancers, and remote employees. So now we are looking at the cloud providers: Amazon Cloud, Microsoft Azure, we have Google Cloud, we have IBM Cloud, Alibaba Cloud. There's so many other clouds, Hawaii Cloud, there's so many. But Amazon Cloud is currently leading, and Microsoft Azure is currently second. But Microsoft Azure seems to be growing faster than Amazon Cloud right now. Google Cloud, IBM Cloud, Alibaba Cloud, all these are all parts, are all cloud providers. Cloud certifications. Now, when we are talking about cloud certifications, these are certifications that show that you are learned in the cloud or you have cloud knowledge. Why should you be interested? There are a lot of reasons why you should be interested. So the first reason you should be interested is because you have a higher earning potential. So in actuality, whether you are a cloud administrator, a developer, or a solution architect, you get paid really well. So administrators, cloud administrators have an average salary of about $80,000 to $100,000 a year. Now, if you make your calculations and convert that, you know how much it is worth. And the developers which have cloud certifications, developers with cloud certifications make about $120,000 on the average. Now, a cloud solutions architect earns the highest salary with around $125,000 on the average. So your earning potential grows higher when you have a cloud certification. You could be a web designer. If you have a cloud certification, it becomes better. Having a cloud certification doesn't mean you have to move entirely from what you are working with. No. As a developer, you have a cloud certification, you earn higher earning potential. Secondly, we look at security. The cloud market is expected to continue rising. The vacancies are going to continue to increase. The numbers are completely bright in cloud computing. So there are more vacancies in the cloud, which allows you more job security. Now, credibility. The certifications show that you are credible and you understand about the cloud. Microsoft values their certifications a lot. They believe the certifications can be a good way to measure the individual's knowledge. Now, all you need to do is choose a specialization and decide if you want to be possibly a developer, or an administrator, or an architect, and then you get a relevant certification from maybe Google certification or Microsoft certification or an Amazon certification, and you are good to go. So as far as you get certified, you become more uh, credible in your field. Cloud certifications actually give you a better job opportunity. It allows you to stand out among other job seekers. Take note that having a cloud certification does not guarantee you a job, but it gives you that edge over the rest. So job opportunity is definitely one of the reasons why an individual should have a cloud certification. So points to keep in mind about certifications. These are just notes. You need to have the right set of skills along with your certification. It's very important. The reason companies hire certified professionals is that it makes it easier for them to filter out the candidates. The other reason is that it confirms the commitment of an individual to that particular domain where he has the certification. And in some cases, it also makes sure to ensure that they meet the norm of having a higher number of certified people on their board. So it is always important to have in mind, to note that a cloud certification would offer a hike in your salary or a better job, but the certification means you are licensed to practice cloud computing. In no way does it confirm that you are competent to attain any cloud role in that domain. So you must thoroughly plan out your certifications. So Microsoft Azure. What is Microsoft Azure? Microsoft Azure is simply a cloud service provider owned by Microsoft. So what happens is that they have a large number of data centers, and then they allow you, your business, to use their data centers, and you just pay for what you use. It's a very simple kind of structure whereby you pay exactly for what you use. Now, why do we use Azure over other cloud providers? The first reason is that Azure has what we call ease of integration. So it's compatible with nearly all programming languages. It has so many operating systems, the frameworks, the platforms. It's compatible with so many platforms, compatible with so many databases. So it makes it easy to integrate with your existing apps and build up new ones. Additionally, Microsoft Azure offers hybrid database and storage solutions that facilitate your integration. So basically, what they allow is that you can easily integrate with your apps, with your programming languages, with your existing databases. The integration becomes easier when you are using Microsoft Azure. Also, Microsoft Azure has a global reach. They are really proud of this. They currently have about 62 regions, about 60 plus regions anyway, 60 plus regions globally, regions all over the world. So that means they are currently around in about 140 countries. So it has a global outreach where you can deploy your apps in all these locations, whatever location you choose. So, for instance, you have your users are mostly in China. You can deploy to the Microsoft data center or Microsoft region, the China region, and your users would not experience any latency or network related issue because that resource is close to them. So also Azure assures cloud security, and basically that's why we use Microsoft Azure. We have these countries that actually use the Microsoft Cloud. We've got BMW over there, Walmart, we got Toyota, Fujitsu, Samsung. We got so many of them in there. Ford, Xerox. We have so many others. This I was just making a little research on them. So right now we have some of the major reasons why Microsoft Azure is preferred. The aspect of security, the aspect of scalability, scaling up, scaling down, increase or reduction as per demand. It has a worldwide access in about 140 countries, 60 plus regions. They have a hybrid capability and they are very flexible. So we'll be using Microsoft Azure in this particular lecture. Now these are most of Microsoft services. Uh, we mentioned the infrastructure as a service before. That's them right down there. We have the compute services where we have the virtual machines and containers, storage, networking. We have the platform as a service over there. We have the security and management. We got the hybrid operations. All these will be understood as we move on in our classes. Take note that this is class 1. And these are the references where I gathered a little bit of information. Thank you very much for listening, and please remember to subscribe. Remember to turn on notifications so you can get the incoming lectures as they move on. We'll be giving about 2 videos a week, and I hope to see you there. Thank you very much.